Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we have a Honda trash picked lawnmower, a 21 inch. It is a model number HRX217 TDA, it looks like. So it's an HRX217 Honda. Looks like it has the residential, maybe GCV 160, GCV 190, can't really tell from here. Has a plastic deck. It is self-propelled. Comes with a bagger. Some parts of it are a little rough, or rusty. I don't know what this is supposed to be here. I have no history on it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's something wrong with the recoil. Seems like it's a little not recoily. So yeah, there's that. I also see that it looks like the fuel line has been cut right here. I don't know why. Doesn't really make much sense, but it is what it is. Let there be light. There's our cut fuel line. So let's see, does it have any oil? Does have oil. Doesn't smell like fuel, that's a good sign. So I think the first step here is probably just to squirt a little bit of gas into the carb to see if this engine's a runner or not. Hopefully the recoil will last through that. Let's pop the air cleaner cover off. Pop the air cleaner out. Let's get our fuel mix. So let's just give her a little spritz. I'm using some 2-stroke mix here. You won't hurt anything. Let's see if our recoil will work long enough. Okay, so the engine's a runner. That's cool. I think our next step is going to be tackling that recoil. It's kind of a pain in the neck to start the way it is. So looks like a couple of 10 millimeters on the top. That should take the recoil assembly off. Let's see if my eye is right. Is it a 10? It is. Guessing someone's been into this recoil before. Not much to it, huh? So I wonder what's wrong with it. Is it not rewound enough? And this rope looks pretty new. Maybe it's just sticky. So I got the knot and the rope out. Does this thing just need some lubrication, or was this thing rewound improperly? I just hit it with a little bit of oil and now it seems fine. So it may have just gotten all corroded. So no need to replace the starter rope at this time. And this is the oil that I used. If you don't have any of this stuff, awesome stuff, really cheap on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description. Let's put the starter back on and give it a whirl. Give her a couple tugs and make sure that solves our problem. Seems a lot better. Maybe not perfect yet, but let's move on to the next thing for now. And you know what? I realized that putting that starter back on that I don't think we'd be able to get to the fuel line with the blower housing on. It's buried under there. It's been cut. Could I splice it? Yeah, but it's fuel line. Just replace it. It's cheap. Don't exactly understand why someone would do that, though. Why would you take some perfectly good fuel line? Or what looks like perfectly good fuel line. That off. So, this is what we have to replace. Let's see if we can get this line off. I vaguely remember Honda's using a different size line. So this might be kind of fun. Two-handed operation. Okay, I got that clip off. So we can remove the cut line. Okay, I switched to a different style fuel line clamp. That clamp right there. I find them just a lot easier to work with. There we go. All set. I'll leave it long for now. I can put the blower housing back on. For the second time. Now, is it also a good time to check your cooling fans, like up in this area, to make sure there's not a lot of debris on them? If you see debris, blow them out. These are perfectly clear, so it's not even going to bother. Now, onto the carburetor. I virtually guarantee this is going to be a problem, so I'm not even going to waste my time checking it. Putting gas in it and draining it out again. Just a 10 millimeter. Now, if we didn't have a running engine, remember, if you recall, it fired when I just sprayed some fuel into the carb inlet, then we would be troubleshooting that. Maybe we have a spark issue. Maybe we have a compression issue. Maybe we have multiple issues. But because we know the engine is capable of running, you put fuel in the carb, I'm going to assume there's a problem with the carb now, just because there probably is. Because pretty much everything I touch has a problem with the carb. And you know why? Anybody? Bueller? It's because people leave gas in these things and they don't use them. Unstabilized gas. All it takes is a little bit of stable to prevent a world of hurt. But people don't do it. It'd be nice if they just included stabilizer in the fuel from the factory, right? Okay. Here's our carburetor right here. Nice and dirty and nasty. And I think we'll also replace the section of fuel that goes from the shutoff valve over to the carb too. There's another angle. So let's see. It's been a while since I worked on one of these. I don't see these very often. Maybe we'll take this 10 millimeter off here. Seems to be holding everything on. Probably should. Oh, now our carb's free. Probably should have done that first, right? Man, it's tight. So I think now we'll remove this linkage here, which is our choke. We'll try anyway. There's one. Super dirty, right? And then our throttle linkage, which goes to the governor back here. I think our fuel line is keeping us constrained. Decided to take this bolt out of here entirely just to give me a little bit more room to work. I don't know how much it's really going to help though. Oh, maybe it will, yeah, that'll help. So we can bend the, not bend, but we can manipulate the carburetor and its linkages. Man, this is dirty. So now take note, the linkage was in that hole there. It looks like the spring is in a different hole. Gross. You can't even tell where the carburetor begins and ends here. It's all like one bunch of nastiness. I don't even see a clamp, do you? No clamp. Just kind of sitting there. There we go. Carburetor is free. Let's take the carb to the bench, shall we? Let's see what we're dealing with here. Got a 10mm nut. Let's pop that off. Oh, not even really that tight. Again, I don't work on these that often, so forgive me if I'm a little kludgy here. Oh, there's some gas. Doesn't really smell that bad. I mean, it's not minty fresh, but I've seen a lot worse. Some crud in there. Maybe it wouldn't run because someone cut the fuel line? I don't know, what do you guys think? Let's get this off, hopefully without tearing it. This carburetor's heavy. Let's take out our main jet. Hopefully. Sometimes it doesn't work so well. Let's see. Oh, coming right out. Here we go. See if our emulsion tube will come out. Perhaps not yet. Let's get that soaking in the ultrasonic cleaner just to get a lot of the heavy nastiness off, and then we'll run it through again. Here goes nothing. Again, this is not the final cleaning, just to get all the heavy crap off. Got the ultrasonic cleaner running, a little bit of simple green. Not much, just enough to get the heavy stuff off, and we'll change the water later and give it a final cleaning. See you in half an hour. Okay, I got the heavy chunks off the carburetor. Got some fresh water in there, so we'll go ahead and we'll give it a final thorough cleaning. Also got the needle valve out. We'll put that in a little separate bin here so they don't get lost in the bottom of the ultrasonic cleaner. And we'll give it probably another half an hour with fresh, clean water. Give it a little more simple green this time. That ought to do it. See it in half an hour. I think we're past the point of diminishing returns here. It's been about 20 minutes, not half an hour. Looking pretty good. I don't think we're going to get much better than that. Let's shut the ultrasonic cleaner off, dry some parts, and reassemble. Got our float. Got our main carburetor body. Try not to damage any of the gaskets. Blow out all the passageways real thoroughly. And we'll take out our small parts basket. That has our needle, the pivot, the jet, all the important stuff. Open sesame. There's our jet. I actually cheated and looked at it under the digital microscope before. It looks perfect, completely clear. Okay, now it's time for reassembly. I wonder if there are any statistics that show how often carburetors are thrown away needlessly. 9 times out of 10, all it needs a good cleaning like this. Too much coffee today, I can't operate a screwdriver. In a perfect world, I would have taken out the emulsion tube, but it didn't seem to want to come out, so didn't really want to force it either. Normally they just drop out after you take the jet out, but this one didn't want to do that. Okay, jet's in. Let's get our float ball. Oh, I guess we gotta put our float needle in first, right? Some of these are a pain in the neck. And a lot of small engine carbs. The holes for this pin are tapered, so they only go in one way. This is not one of those, though. Now what I like to do is orient it so that the bowl drain, that screw right there, is facing where you can actually get to it. I don't think it was previously. So for that reason, I usually leave the bowl nut a little loose just so I can rotate it easily if I need to. And that's it. Let's see if I can't get this thing back together now. So let's do our linkages first. If you recall, the actual linkage and the spring were in two different holes, so we got that. We're working on that. Okay, that's good. Now we get our choke linkage. Like so. And we're going to get our two carburetor screws and get them started. Like that. And like that. Now, in a perfect world, I would have replaced the fuel line from the shutoff valve to the carburetor, but in their infinite wisdom, Honda decided to use a different size line there. I don't have that line in stock, so we're going to have to reuse that. So the line that goes to the shutoff valve over here to the nipple on the carburetor, we're just going to put that back on. Now we're going to take this whole shoot and match and bolt it back up to the motor. I should have cleaned this whole thing before I did this. You know what I always say, hate working on dirty equipment, right? I violated my own rule here. You get the idea. Why didn't any of you guys yell at me I was putting this back together wrong? So this thing, I think it goes like that, right? I don't know. Does it really matter? It goes like that. A lot easier to get it right the first time, though. There we go. Thought it looked weird the way it was sticking out. You guys are killing me. You forgot to tell me to put the air box on. What's wrong with you guys? Maybe I should just call it a day. Making so many mistakes because I'm rushing. Let that be a lesson to you. Don't rush. Put the air box on. Pray everything stays aligned, or hold it. It's kind of a pain in the neck design if you ask me. But Honda didn't ask me, so what difference does it make, right? That's the wrong hole. Does anybody know how to put this engine back together? There is a crankcase breather tube that looks like it's going to be a super big pain in the neck to get back in place. Because it's behind this cover. You might have to reach a hand around there and shove it back in place while you're putting all this back together. Or maybe take the blower housing off yet again to get clearance. What a horrible design. I like working on the GX motors a lot better. That's why they cost more. Yeah, so I guess you gotta take this blower housing off to put that tube back in. Let's see if I can pull this off. Stupid design. Just snug everything back up. Maybe shoot a little bit of oil in the throttle linkage here, especially if it's been sitting outside like this one looks like it has. And we'll put our blower housing back on for the 19th time. Let's kind of measure our fuel line, so we'll cut it right at the A in Gates. About like that. Got a new clamp. Then we'll put the fuel line on the shutoff valve. Just like that. All right. This baby should be ready to put some gas in and rock and roll and see if it explodes or runs. But I'm not going to do that tonight because it's late and it's dark out. So until another day. Let's throw some gas in it, check for leaks, and see if it runs now. This is stabilized fuel. Just give the tank a little blow to get any debris out of there. There was quite a bit in there. You saw that. Good enough. That's my favorite way to clean a fuel tank. Get it nice and dry, hit it with compressed air. Any grass or particles just comes right out. That should be enough. Check for leaks, any drippage. I see none. Should we give the rope a tug and see what happens? I think she's a runner. What do you guys think? I guess it would help if I put it on choke, right? Perhaps not. Feels like it wants to start. It's coughing. Might still have an issue with the carb. Clearly a runner. See the wheels work. I think the next step is to clean it up and see why it was so hard to start. Maybe a problem with the choke. Runs pretty well. Cleaned up even nicer. A little bit of simple green water and a brush, and I mean, it almost looks like it could be only a couple years old aside from the handlebars. So I'm gonna let it cool off and we'll dig into that starting issue. So, didn't really wait to let it cool off, but it's not really that warm, so the problem is fairly obvious. So I'm gonna watch right here. as I actuate the choke. It's not moving. Now, I think the possibilities include the linkage is frozen or it's on backwards. Now, I'm pretty sure when I took it apart, I mimicked how it was put together when I put it back together, but I suppose it's possible that I made a mistake. But let's just go with the fact that it was assembled incorrectly from whoever monkeyed with this before me, because that makes me feel a little bit better internally. So to fix this, there's another hole right there. I'm going to try putting a linkage in that hole and see if that helps things. Let's see if I can do this without disassembling everything. There we go. Let's see if that helps. Just put a bolt in there to stabilize it. Should be a lot easier to start if the choke is running, if the choke is working. Look at that. Of course, it doesn't come off now, but maybe that's just because nothing's stable here. So, let me put this back together yet again, and we'll see if that fixes the problem. Probably really tough for you guys to see this, but that's choke on, choke off, choke on, choke off. You can see things moving right inside there. So yeah, the last guy must have put it together wrong. Yeah, right. Let's try that again, shall we? Give her some fuel. Bet she starts in one pull this time. Yep. All right, folks, I think that's a wrap. Took a trash-picked Honda HRX217, probably from maybe 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. We revived it, cleaned it up, and this machine is ready for sale. Didn't really even have to do much to it. Maybe a couple bucks in fuel line, and that's about it. Anyway, hopefully you found this video helpful. Please subscribe, stay safe, and thanks for watching, everybody.